Hello and welcome to today's live streaming session for our Manifesting My Wealth membership. It is such an exciting joy to be here with you today. And we're going to kick in or off our live session with a coherence practice. So if you are in a quiet space where you can close your eyes, I invite you to do that right now. You can sit up or lie down. If you are driving a car or operating any machinery, you can actually participate with your eyes open. This is actually something you can participate with while driving a car. So yes, but if you can close your eyes, there will be an amplification of this practice. Coherence, if you're not familiar with it, is an amazing resource for manifesting. It allows you to create alignment, and coherence begins with your heart. We're going to actually use your breath to initiate coherence. Once your heart moves into a state of coherence, it sends a signal up your vagus channel to the lower recesses of your brain, and it syncs with your brain. So from that moment, with your brain and your heart synchronized in a state of coherence, that coherence then is signaled to the rest of your body. So then you come into what's called psychophysiological coherence, which is basically the entirety of your mind and your body coming into a coherent state. We actually know that the continual practice of coherence moves coherence out into your field and the signal you're broadcasting. So you are not only a broadcaster, you are also a receiver. And unfortunately, we are entrained oftentimes to an incoherent state, a state of incoherence, which is a state of something is wrong. And so when we're broadcasting a something is wrong signal, we can only receive what's on that signal. And so what people try to do is they try to change their thoughts. They try to change how they feel. They try to change what they're doing. And they don't realize that they're still broadcasting an incoherent signal. So the first thing when you're feeling off that I encourage you to do, or as just a general check-in and reset, is this particular practice. And it is pretty cool because you can do it while you're on a walk. You can do it while you're having a conversation with someone. You can do this while you're driving a car. If you're in a quiet space, you can amplify it by closing your eyes. You can, turn your attention inward, but that's not required for coherence. So I want you to think about creating a coherent signal, which is like this. It means that your up and your down rhythm has harmonized. So, and here's the cool thing: when I'm working with my professional athletes, professional speakers, before they perform, before they do anything, there's two things that I have them do, and they are game changers. The first one is coherence. The second one is the energy restoration practice, and I believe that is in your manifestation portal. Jane, team, let's check that out. If energy restoration is not in their portal, let's make sure we get it in there because I want them to be able to practice it. So we'll get that going. So those two things, energy restoration balances, harmonizes your electromagnetic conductivity. So we actually discovered with my athletes that I coach and I coach them in their mental game, not their physical game. They have their physical coaches, but in their mental alignment, when they're traveling across time zones and we get jet lag, what I've actually discovered, and I discovered it working with these athletes, and then also a handful of salespeople who travel globally. So they're crossing time zones all of the time. And we used to think that jet lag was a time zone issue. If you're familiar, and you can look this up, there are electromagnetic grids that run throughout our Earth. And they run lengthwise. Okay, so they're longitudinal. And so with that, when you cross from one magnetic grid to another magnetic grid, that that throws you off because you calibrate to the magnetic grid you're in most of the time. You're calibrated to that magnetic field. And then when you go to a different magnetic field, it can cause incoherence. It throws you into a dissonant state. So what we had them do is even on the airplane, okay? On an airplane, they're practicing energy restoration. Wow. They're not even on the earth. And here's the thing, we've actually measured energy restoration in comparison to 30 minutes of earthing, which is, if you're not familiar with it, it's taking your shoes off and walking or putting your feet on the soil or dirt, not something synthetic. It's really putting your feet on the earth, bare feet for 30 minutes. Stanford, there are major universities all over the world that have done significant studies on grounding and really identifying how it affects the organs in our body, it affects our mental state. And when people are grounded, they heal. They heal tremendously. It's like all of a sudden now they have their electromagnetic conductivity is regulated, it's flowing, it's harmonized. So we looked at energy restoration and 30 minutes of earthing, and in 3 minutes, energy restoration did as much, if not more, in certain circumstances than the earthing practice. So for these lovely people, when we studied what was going on, coherence practice and energy restoration, they never had jet lag again. And sometimes I'm thinking about one athlete that literally had such a difficulty sleeping on an airplane, arrived in the country they were competing in, and pretty much within hours, they were in their competition. So all they did to harmonize their body and their mind were these two things, and they did incredibly well. Finished in the top 3. Of their in their competition. So that was pretty outstanding because it was a very, very long flight. Okay, so here we are. No matter where you're at, go ahead and with your eyes open or eyes closed, I want you to just take 3 regular breaths. Just as big as you can get them. Now notice if your breath went into your belly or if it stayed up higher in your lobes of your lungs. If your breath went into your belly, that lets you know you've got your parasympathetic nervous system activated. If it stayed up higher, you've got some type of priming going on in your sympathetic nervous system. So parasympathetic is rest, repair, growth, manifestation, part of your nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system is fight, flight, freeze, fawn. There's something wrong. So if you take a breath, this is something you can do. If you take a breath and you notice your diaphragm doesn't move much, your belly doesn't move much, and you feel like you're, puffing out in your upper lobes in your lungs, that lets you know you're incoherent. Okay. So now you have a tool for that. Here's the thing. You can take your ring fingers, put your fingers together, take a breath. Notice where your breath goes. Okay. Now release that. Take your index fingers, put them together. Now take a breath. Did you notice? Did you notice the difference? So with your fingers, your index fingers together, that is telling your parasympathetic nervous system, hey, activate. You never, ever, ever, ever turn off your sympathetic nervous system. The off switch for your sympathetic nervous system is the on switch for your parasympathetic nervous system. And so if for any reason you need your sympathetic nervous system turned on, your parasympathetic nervous system will not turn on. It's not going to override when you need survival activated. Now, if you say, okay, I did this and my breath is still up here. Okay, then I want you to ask yourself, what am I attending to or avoiding? What am I focusing on or trying not to focus on that has me in survival mode? That is a threat or a fear. So just ask yourself, And the first thing that comes into your awareness usually is the thing. Okay. So then address it, because your sympathetic nervous system is not dysregulated. If it's a fear or it's a threat, you need to address it. If it's a fear and you address it, it goes away. If there's a threat and you address it, it is resolved. That's Your nervous systems are not dysregulated. They're activated for a very specific reason. If your sympathetic nervous system is activated, it's not dysregulated, it's activated for a very specific reason. And the reason may be real or imagined, it may be present or it may be past, but it's something that has not yet been addressed to resolution. And people will say, yeah, but I think I'm just, habit and pattern, sympathetic nervous system activation. Habits and patterns are about continuing something. So if you have a habit and pattern that's showing you your sympathetic nervous system's activated, it means that there's something that you haven't addressed. And it's saying, here it is again, here it is again, here it is again. We're just going to keep giving this to you until you address it. And when you address it 100% of the time, I'm telling you, I've watched this with people wired up to my computer and all of my measurement devices. And within the moment of addressing it, the parasympathetic nervous system activates, sends the signal throughout the endocrine system saying, all right, we're converting all of the fight, flight, freeze, fawn biochemicals over. We're creating reproduction biochemicals, which are also manifestation and growth biochemicals, and all is well. Okay. So, and then you also, anytime, if you've got this is not sympathetic nervous system activation. You can actually be coherent and sympathetically activated. Okay. So even if you notice, oh, my breath is here, it's not going into my belly, you can practice coherence. You'll move into coherence and you still may be sympathetic nervous system activated. Okay. So if you notice, oh, my breath is not going here, my sympathetic nervous system's activated, I'm practicing coherence, I'm practicing energy restoration, and then I'm getting to the addressing part. Okay. So let me know if you guys have any questions about that. And then let's see, is it possible to, is it possible to post the link to energy restoration for easy access? Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we'll put it into the membership portal. We'll get that in there. And we'll get it in there. Well, I don't know. They might be getting it in there right now. So yeah, that's going to happen today. And I'm glad that you guys are going to have access to this, because I mean, before I do a lot of work, before I do a coaching session, or even after a coaching session, before I write anything, before I do energy restoration, really, really, really powerful, and coherence. And as a matter of fact, you can put them together while you're first experiencing these. It can be a little maybe confusing, so you can do them separately, and then you really can put them together. And for coherence, you don't have to do it in a formal practice either. It's just when you notice, like, I feel off. Coherence. Okay. So once you've taken those 3 big breaths, you've told your body, hi, hello, we're breathing. Congratulations. Because if your sympathetic nervous system's activated, you're not fully breathing. Okay. So yeah, anybody just try to sit down and meditate while your sympathetic nervous system's activated. Ooh, it's not pleasant. Not pleasant at all. So my advice to you, my encouragement to you is get up, address the thing, and then go back and meditate after you've addressed it. Okay. All right. So now you're going to breathe into the count of 5, and you're going to breathe out to the count of 5. Into the count of 5, out to the count of 5. And you're not trying to relax while you do this, but I do want you to encourage your mind and your body into non-attachment. So by non-attachment, I just mean put things down, put things mentally down, put things physically down. If you notice your shoulders are up, then just put down whatever your shoulders are holding. You don't have to fix it, change it, figure out what it is, resolve it, just put it down. That's it. So if your fingers are tight, put whatever your fingers have a hold of down. Just put it all down. That's the message. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to set a timer. We're doing this for 3 minutes. That is the magic time frame. I've tried 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Massive changes happen in 3 minutes. You're going to get them in 30 seconds. So if you can't do 3 minutes because you don't have enough time, that's fine. 15 seconds, just do it. But 3 minutes, magic sweet spot. So if you don't have time to meditate in your day for 20 minutes, because I don't know how it is that we don't have 20 minutes, but sometimes it's just like that. I remember a few days ago where I was like, I really just need 1 minute to go to the bathroom. And I laughed. I said, okay, this is such a reflection of yeses where there needed to be some no's in there. And so I just smiled. I said, okay, I receive the information here. I'm going to expand into a little bit more spaciousness in what we put into the calendar. And I did find my 1 minute to go to the bathroom. Okay, so here we go. Into the count of 5, out to the count of 5. It's your own rhythm. It's not a slow count. It's not a medium. Don't worry about the pace. It's whatever allows you to turn your inhale to your exhale. And if you want, you can close your eyes. I love sitting and closing my eyes. For those of you that practice yoga and know what an ujjayi breath is, that can be very helpful on the exhale, but it's not necessary. If you're wondering what is an ujjayi breath, in your next exhale, open your mouth. And as you breathe out, say ha. Now, continue that with your mouth closed and press your tongue gently to the roof of your mouth. When you're ready, take a deep breath, sighing perhaps as you exhale. Again, and one more time. Open your eyes and just notice. Notice, notice, notice. Be aware of you. If you found yourself swallowing while you practiced that, that actually is you moving into an alpha, theta, or theta state, which is very, very, very common when practicing coherence. Now, if you're driving a car, you may actually switch into a very high level of alpha. So you're going to feel aware of yourself. You're going to be aware of your environment, but you'll feel a calmer state. You'll feel what you'll come to know as a coherent state. So I have my oldest daughter is in sales, and so she's driving all over the place a lot, and she's not a big fan of of traffic or other drivers. And so as she's driving, I'm saying, practice heart coherence while you're driving. Practice heart coherence, and so this is something that has become a tool for her because yeah, you can yell at the other driver, but that they're not going to hear you, and now you're in the state of yelling. You're in that frequency that you're trying to throw at them, but you're just throwing it at yourself. And so coherence is an option. And then from a coherent place, you can choose what you do with the terrible driver, which usually is absolutely nothing. You stop caring about them and you start saying, what do I need for my drive, which is probably to get the heck away from them. Like, go on your merry way. I have no interest in any interactions with you. Okay. So, all right. So post any questions that you have into our lovely chat. Checking in here. Let's see. Okay, so I often and just now experience constriction in my throat chakra area. Any insight? Yes, yes, yes. So any area, so this is actually a tool that I developed. It's called psychogenic transformation. It's not the full tool, but there's a component of it that I would encourage you to use. So when you feel your throat contract, you can put your hand on it. And then rather than trying to figure out what's going on, which is the psychogenic transformation incorporates a somatic communication. You were not using that. This is simply, you imagine the breath moving through and through. So when you place your hand on it, and just do it lightly, not heavily, but lightly, you're imagining the energy of your breath flowing right on through, and then right on through, right on through, right on through. And when you put your hand on it, you're saying, I got you. I got you. I got you. You've got my awareness. You've got my attention. I've got you. But what you're doing is you're actually allowing the energy to move through. So you're focusing on being a conduit. When we have contraction, the conductivity is restricted. So you're not saying, why are you restricted? It's kind of like when we say, why are you restricted? It's like trying to pry open the fingers. And when we focus on conducting energy, we're just conducting. So this is like acupuncture. Okay. When they put, you've got a balled up, stagnant energy center or muscle, and they put the needle right in the middle of it in that acupressure point. Well, they're putting that needle in because the needle is now dispersing the collected energy. So that's what you're doing. So let me know if you have any questions about that. And you do it, and then you're going to go, something just changed. Like, okay. And you can choose, like, okay, like, I got you. Do you, or then you just release your hand, put it down in your lap. Don't cross your hands while you're practicing this. You can leave them, you can rest them, or you can have them on your lap, hands up, closed, these kinds of things. I would say don't practice if you know about mudras and you know about hand positions, let those go. Don't force your parasympathetic nervous system to activate. So don't do this. So that's a really awesome tool. And you'll find that it opens up. Let's see. Beautiful. Love this. Noticing release and movement through. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Good. Awesome. Yes. Okay. Let's jump into the pre-session forms and the questions, coaching topics, areas that people would like to focus on. Okay, so here we go. I originally found you through a YouTube video where you talked about healing not being necessary. That resonated with me because I also believe that all possibilities already exist. Everything is available now and all realities are happening simultaneously. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I love it. At the same time, we seem to experience certain blocks. In one of your coaching calls inside the membership, I heard you talk about working with the inner child and giving that younger version of ourselves the resources it didn't have at the time. Something that sounds similar to revision or reparenting. Yes. Okay. So my question is, to what extent do you think it's possible to create change without spending much time revisiting the past? For example, by working in the present moment through nervous system regulation, humming for vagus nerve stimulation, like you did in one of your teachings, or EFT, and thereby reducing the gap between our current frequency and our desired frequency. Okay, yes. So here's the cool thing that I've discovered. We think, you guys are going to, like, members who've been members for a short time, at least been on a prior membership call, and with the replays that you activated, you probably saw me use my favorite tool, which is pen, and this is actually a pencil. So we think time is linear, and you just described this and what you shared. So we think, here's our past, here's our present, and here's our future. That actually is inaccurate. All timelines, all versions of you, as you mentioned, presently exist. So rather than time being here, time is actually not real. It is something that is moving around and with you based on observation. So let's say you've got something going on right now. And you say, when was the first time I felt this? And you say, oh, yeah, it was in preschool. And I was coloring and I needed a yellow crayon. And the kids at the table that I was sitting with, one of them had a yellow crayon, wouldn't give it to me, wouldn't share it with me. And was always mean to me. So in that moment, oh my gosh, what did I think? I can't have what I want. I can't have what I need because there's something wrong with me. There's something rejectable about me. Okay. And what's going on right now? Oh, I feel that. I feel like I just get rejected. What I want, I go for it. I do what other people do, and I don't get to have it. So here's the thing. That energy didn't happen back here, didn't happen actually up here. I've helped people heal things by going into their future because it's all right here. So imagine past, present, future, all is now. So what's happening is you have an encoded element in your self-identity. It's an equation that says me plus what I desire equals no. Okay. So, or equals rejection equals not happening, So it's like, okay, I have this equation. And I have this equation because of this equation being encoded. Now, children aren't born. Nobody is actually in existence naturally with an identity that says, I don't get to have what I want. Your natural identity is I get to have everything that I want and need, and I get to have it whenever I need and want it. And to the universe doesn't discern it's a need or a want. In the universe, it's either a need that maintains who you are at this present moment, or it expands you into the now version of you that's right here for you to be. Not even to become, it's for you to be. So in that, wants and desires are in alignment with the universe, expanding, and it's going to expand to and through you. So you've got an equation right now that is limiting you, and you're here to expand. So you say, okay, if I knew something back with the yellow crayon situation, that would make me feel totally like I can have what I want, even if that person says, no, you can't have my yellow crayon, and says, I don't like you. You're horrible. You're ugly. You're terrible. You're awful. Get away from me. I don't like you. You can't have my yellow crayon. What could if I knew something in that moment, what would I know that would absolutely render me totally knowing I can have what I want, even if it's not that source? It's like, oh, well, if I actually knew there were infinite available yellow crayons, and whatever this person is doing has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with what they're doing, and I get to choose what I do with it. And if I don't like how this person feels, then this person isn't aligned for me. And it's not my job to fix or change them. I get to choose what I do with it. Do I want to join them in this nasty little frequency? Not at all. Is there a yellow crayon here? Can I have it? Yes. Does this have to be a source? Nope. I can have what I want. Okay. Do I want to join that frequency of nastiness? No, I do not. So I'm out. I'm like, no more attention there to Mr. Nasty or Miss Nasty. It's okay. Who has a yellow crayon? I need a yellow crayon. Instant worth, instant value, instant I get to have what I want. It's like, oh, if I knew that at that moment, then the equation would be need or want, me plus need or want equals have. And how I come to have, I'm not attached. And if this person says no, that's just not the way. That's just not the way. And that's the thing, is that we're taught if somebody says no, we can't have it. We're taught that. That's not true. But when we're taught it and we equate to it, we integrate, and the identity becomes who we are, then guess what? We perceive, nope, I can't have what I want, because we've outsourced the permission slip. So if you knew you could always have what you want, and how you come to have it, you get to discover, and you get to keep going until you have it. And it doesn't need to take a long time, and you really don't need to do anything to have it. I mean, imagine that nasty person says, rah, 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 no, I hate you. You're ugly. I'm never giving you crayons. You can't have my yellow crayon. And then somebody just walks up and says, hey, I've got a yellow crayon. Here you go. You go, sweet, thanks. I didn't even know you heard me. I love it. So that's everything is right now. And if it's coming up now, and you say, oh, I can have it now. But then there's a version of you still activated that says, yeah, but I didn't get to have the yellow crayon when I was, 3 years old. I didn't get to have the yellow crayon because there's something rejectable about me. That is a contrasting, attractive equation. So it's like you're putting a new equation in, but the old equation is still activated. And there's more energy that's planted in the other equation. So rather than avoid the equation, go into it and challenge it and say, listen up here. Because honestly, if we had somebody that stepped in and said, what's going on? Say, well, I guess I don't get to have yellow crayons, and I guess I'm ugly, and I guess I'm not likable, and I guess, like I just don't get to have what I want. I can't finish my coloring page. I'm a loser. And somebody says, that is completely false. That is absolutely false. There's nothing true about that. Nothing. You get to have what you want. You get to finish your page. You get to feel and know that you're likable, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're 100% worthy and valuable. You get to know that because that's actually what's true. And this person doesn't get to determine that for you. They don't get to determine it, they don't get to give it to you, and they don't get to take it away. And whatever they're doing has only to do with what they're going through. And you don't need to give them your energy and your essence to make them feel better so you can feel good. None of that. They're the only ones that can do that. So let that all go and go get your yellow crayon, even though you have no idea where it is. And hey, I'll help you because I can. Not because you're worthy of it, because you earned it. It's because I can help you and you're already worthy and valuable. Me helping you has nothing to do with your worth and value. So if that happened in that moment, that's emotionally impactful. And that code would have rewritten immediately. Immediately. But if we didn't have that happen and that code is still activated, it's still electrical and magnetic. And the situation that's happening right now is running energy through what is electrical and magnetic, and it's amplifying the magnetism of it. So when we go and we reverse it, so it can be called reparenting, it is really rewriting the energy code. And the energy code is running your self-identity, and your life runs through your self-identity. So if you want to see what's in your self-identity, you say, oh, look at this. Look at my life. Whatever's being reflected to you, inwardly and outwardly reflected to you, that's your self-identity. And if you don't like it, that's indicative that it's not authentic to you. So you've got somebody else's code running your identity, and your identity is running your life, and that code is not you. So you're not living your life yet as long as that code is creating your life. So you have the moment that you have the ability in that moment to change it, which is really, and actually you're not changing it. You're not changing it. You're writing a new code. And it's really, really cool. So yeah, you're not going into the past. And here's the other thing. Don't ever go searching for it. I had people that early in my practice as a hypnotherapist, they'd say, will you hypnotize me into past life regressions to find out what crap is in there that I haven't healed? And I was like, no, I will not. They were like, but I want to explore my past lives to see if there's any hurt or wounds or anything that's affecting me now. And I said, well, what's happening now? They're like, nothing. My life's pretty dang good. So you just want to go on a hunt for yuck? And they were like, yeah, it's entertaining. I said, pain is not entertaining. And if it isn't up now, then it isn't. So don't go create it. Because that's actually what will happen. If you go looking for pain, you'll find it. And it may not have existed before you went looking for it. So don't go look for it unless you're keen on manifesting a wealth of pain. And I wouldn't understand that at all. And honestly, your subconscious won't let you go backwards. It'll only allow expansion. So, yeah. So I told this person, I said, no. And then I had other people that were like, well, like, will you do a past life, regression so we can see if this came from a past life? I'm like, no, we'll do a regression, but not past or present or future. We'll just go into the causal level where the seed was planted, where the equation was planted, where it became activated within you. Because you have all of the equations of the universe that are available. You have all blueprints that are available right here, right now. And in our lives, we activate those blueprints. And in our early phase, before we're 7, those blueprints get activated for us. And they may not be our authentic blueprints. As a matter of fact, they may be contrasting blueprints where you say, I don't know what the heck I'm living, but I don't like it. It doesn't feel right to me. It is just hard. And it's just showing you came into this life activating all the blueprints, and it's just getting you to point your attention to who you're not, which is actually going to inspire you to put down who you're not and activate who you actually are. Because the truth is, you can't put down your authenticity. So when you put down the other codes, the authentic codes activate and integrate rapidly. It's like if you take a cork, you hook a bunch of weights, you pull it beneath the water, you haven't changed the cork from being a cork. And you don't have to teach the cork to float. You clip the weights, the cork does what the cork was always meant to do. And that's how you're designed. So, yes, so let me know if you have any questions or thoughts or anything that is coming into your awareness right now. All right. Okay, so the next area that we're focusing on, how do we build a more robust and I love this. It's like inner child time. More robust and close relationship with our own our inner child. How do we really connect? I know her, see her, acknowledge her, but I don't feel connected. There's an aversion there. Maybe my own self-critic is creating the distance. How do we bond, meld together, and heal in the quantum and not just acknowledge history? Well, so here's the thing I will say after talking about those early life wounds. Somebody made up the inner child. Somebody made that up. Some probably I'll look up who came up with the term inner child. The inner child is an archetype. Gives us a persona. Let me use a different example. I was listening to something years and years and years ago. And the person said that they turned, what was it? Something. I'll use, it was something else, but I'll use the example of money into a person, like a best friend. And so they created an archetype of money being their friend. And money is hard for some people to relate with in the energy of it. So turning it into a person was easier. So they just created an archetype, a persona that gave them the ability to build a relationship. Because the inner child is just one version of you. And your old self is another version of you. And here's the thing. I worked with a client, and there's like thousands of clients that have had this experience. And I said, okay, like we're calling in the version of you that has lived the life you prefer. They've lived it. So they're not trying to create it. They're not trying to manifest it. They're not trying to fix things and change things. They lived the life of your preference. You prefer it. It's not happening right now, but we're calling in the version of you that lived it. And they're at the very end of their life. And they're so fulfilled. And so we called that self in. There was wisdom there. Like, what do you know as this version that has lived it? What is it like? What was it like? What was the moment where it all clicked? And what do you know? And so they shared, this is what I know. This is what I know. This is what I know. This is who I am. This is what happens for me. This is what I experience. This is the normal for me. And so it was like your present day self going to your inner child, but it was the older version that was going to the version of them that was struggling. And then we actually laid out lifelines. People call them timelines, but version lines. This version of me, this version of me, this version of me, this version of me. And the version that had come and offered the mentorship and insight, that version line was there too. And then the person got to choose. which version line do I continue on? So they did choose the version of the that was fulfilled and prosperous and totally abundantly prosperous. Everything that they preferred. And their life started to shift. And it's kind of like turning an aircraft carrier. You can't, or turning a car. It doesn't look sometimes huge, but it's like it's a completely different direction. And it wasn't like, oh, everything has to be different. It was just subtle things that were different. And oh my gosh, their life totally overhauled. So that being, what I would encourage you to do right now is what we talked about with the other member, which is, you know her, you see her, you acknowledge her. It doesn't need to heal with her. It needs to exist within you. So, I mean, if there's an aversion, then there's an aversion with some aspect of you right now, some part of you that you're rejecting. So it's like, I love it. I love making lists of where am I rejecting? Where am I resisting? Where am I regretting? Anything within me. And then what do I need to do to resolve that? So it's kind of like a form of forgiveness. It's like, oh, I wish I had continued to play the guitar. I regret that. Okay. Well, okay. So you stopped playing the guitar and you didn't really like the type of music you were playing when you were playing the guitar. You wanted to learn chords and you were learning classical music. Okay. So you didn't get rid of your opportunity to play the guitar. You just stopped playing it at that moment. And a lot of it had to do with abilities that, I mean, you were a kiddo. You couldn't go pay for the guitar and your parents refused to continue because they were getting divorced and hated each other. So, okay. So I've been holding resentment. That's the thing. I've been holding resentment against you for not playing the guitar. Okay. What is that? Okay. Well, I forgive you. I forgive you, which means in my definition, my definition came from acknowledging when we forgive something, we say, I'm no longer willing to be this resentment. I'm no longer willing to carry the pain of this resentment with me, which means I'm no longer willing to dedicate my energy to maintaining this resentment. Because when you maintain resentment, that energy is not available for manifestation. And now you're in the frequency of resentment. So when you say, hey, you stop playing the guitar. Okay. Lots of circumstances. And if you want to play the guitar now, you can play the guitar. You don't have to go to a teacher. You can actually do something online if you want. You can, you still have the guitars. You can learn the chords. You can learn music that you actually like to listen to on a radio and you sing along. You can do all of those things. And you can do them now. And I forgive you for all of the crap that I've resented for you and from you and everything in the past. And you don't have to fix it. You don't have to change it. I accept that it occurred. And now here's what I choose to do with it from this now moment. So when it's like, she doesn't, if it's not happening, don't push it. Look at what the aversion might be. You said maybe my own self-critic. And you don't have to go find it in your inner child because it's activated now. So just look at, where am I being critical of myself? Where am I rejecting myself? Where am I judging myself? Where am I being mean and harsh to myself? Where am I not connecting or bonding with me? Where am I in separation with myself? And then look at resentment, judgment, criticism, fear, those kinds of things, and then address them, address them, address them, address them. And it can be as simple as what I just described, where it's like, hey, you stopped playing the guitar, and you've been jealous ever since. Um, Seeing people who play the guitar, which is actually really funny, because I'm using this example because there was a moment in my adult life where I was like, oh, I wish I had continued to play the guitar. And then I actually really, I did the forgiveness thing. And then I was like, I don't really want to play the guitar. Like I could learn. I already know how to play the guitar, but the versions of the thing, I mean, I'm like, I could learn, but I actually really don't want to put my energy there. I want to do other things. So I became, well, this was decades later, but I became a sailboat captain. And I didn't start guitar lessons because I didn't want to. After the resentment was released, it's like, oh, that's done. Cool. Let's see. All right. And let me go here. Got a comment. Yes, yes. All right. So the subconscious only allows expansion, question mark. So it reveals our pain and trauma through our actions. Is it a way to acknowledge a need for healing so that expansion can happen? Yes, yes, yes. Yes. So we have been taught to make it about pain. And here's a really cool example of this. Somebody will say, "Oh, I'm just having a crappy day." And you know what people say? They say, "Oh, yeah, my day yesterday sucked." Right? So it's like, and then anybody else, they're like, "Oh, you're having a crappy day too?" It's like everybody jumps in. And the person, like, it's like, "Oh, well, I'm having a good day, but last week was horrible." And it's like everybody's pulling their pain out. We go and watch movies. Not everybody. I don't like this. If I don't want to live it, I don't want to watch it. And comedy tends to be some of the biggest things I don't want to live. It's like, "Oh my gosh, that's horrible." That if that was happening in my life right now, I would not be laughing, not at all. Um, but it's like pain is entertaining. Pain is, it's like where we suck in energy, that kind of thing. We're taught that. We're taught it. So when the truth is, the subconscious is only going to allow expansion. And so when we discover pain or trauma, and it's like, whoop, it gets touched. That is simply now got our attention, saying, I haven't healed yet. And if we get injured and we don't heal immediately, because healing immediately is our design, it's higher intelligence that organizes it. It can be for several reasons. One is we may not have the codes to heal. We may have actually inherited codes of the wounded self, where we say, this is what happens to me. This is who I am. This is what I get. That's basically what your self-identity proves to you all the time. So if you come from an environment of wounded people, and I came from an environment of victims and wounded people, so I share this from my heart, because I had all of those codes totally activated within me until I created the new codes. And so that can be a reason why we don't heal, is because you can't heal if you have the code of saying, but I'm wounded. Because if you're healed, you're not wounded anymore. And that's not self. So that can be one. The other one is there are resources that you don't have access to, because again, the opposites were encoded from your environment. So the resources just need to be activated, or the trauma is still going on. So it's like, you're not going to lay down and take a nap while the dinosaur is chasing you. And the reason why I'm using that example is because we repair and restore in our mitochondria and at the cellular level in delta. And delta occurs while we're sleeping. And so if we're not entering into a delta state because we've still got the dinosaur trying to eat us and find us, then we don't repair. And so it's like I can't heal this right now. I still have to survive. So if we're still in survival mode, because there are things that are needing to be addressed, then we're not going to heal. So there can be several reasons, but there's a moment. Here's the coolest thing: is when we become aware of the pain, and we're maybe in between survival and well-being. We're not in well-being, but we're not surviving still. We're, like the dinosaur left. It's like now we say, oh, I have this pain going on and I don't like it. And I want to feel better. That desire to feel better is the indication that you're now capable of healing it. Now you can heal it. And it isn't about, here's the other thing, when we heal something, it is not a build what was. When we heal something, new self is built using the magnitude that caused the injury and then amplified magnitude. So the energy that's going to build the new self is bigger than the energy that caused the hurt and the injury. So that energy is right there and it's parked. And so you're building new self, which causes the expansion, because the energy that you're conducting and the energy that you are when you've healed is actually greater. Greater is a better word than bigger. Greater in conductivity. You're able to conduct more energy because you've expanded than before. So that's actually what you're getting the attention of. It's like, oh, I'm ready to become a greater version of myself that can now conduct a greater energy of life through me and not blow me out. So it's not a healing journey. It's like, oh, I'm going to be working on this for years. Nope. It's really about, okay, like if you break your bone 6 weeks later, you're not seeing the surgeon anymore. You're done. Now you might be going to physical therapy, which is about building mobility, but that's learning how to move your greater self. And then you work on strength, coach. And it's like, let's go. Let's run a marathon. Let's learn a new TikTok dance, these kinds of things. So yeah, it's actually a very cool compliment when your subconscious says, hey, look over here. This hurts. And then you go, well, I don't like that. It's like, okay, well, what do I choose to do with it? It's time to heal. It's time to create the version of me that isn't in this pain, that isn't, arguing with the kiddo that won't give you the yellow crayon kind of thing. And it doesn't require that we change others. We cannot change others. And here's the thing I will say. Sometimes when we expand and we're conducting energy and someone continues to yell at us, you're ugly and I never want to give you my crayon, you say, be gone. I'm done with you. Because you're at a frequency I will never go to. And if you're at that frequency and I continue to put my attention on you in that frequency, I'm going to move towards that frequency. And that's not me. So I'm not getting rid of you. I'm just not going to you any further. I'm not putting my attention. I'm not putting my participation. I'm not putting my relationship with you anymore. And when we say no to a person, a situation, a frequency, we're saying yes to something greater than that. And we may not see it in that moment. But the more that we say yes to it, sometimes by saying no to what we're not, the more it comes into form, our frequency dials into the coherence of it, and then bada bing, bada boom, we're living it. We're living it. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any other insights or questions or thoughts about that. I know we've reached our time. Okay. So energy restoration is going to be in your membership portal. If anybody, you guys are all streaming this from inside the portal. And yeah, so it'll be in the membership portal, beccaarmstrong.com, login. And if you guys have anything else you guys want to learn more about, receive mentorship, coaching, post those in, send us those, put them in the comments because that comes directly over to us. And for our next live session, we will line it up and we will do it. All right. You guys are masterful manifestors. You're manifesting your wealth. And sometimes that is initiated by contrast. And pain is not supposed to be your norm. Fun is actually the way your life is supposed to flow. And anything else is just getting your attention so you can align and integrate. And sometimes you have to create those codes because they weren't created for you. And you have the capacity to do it. All right. You guys have a beautiful rest of your day. Talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.